All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day to everybody who is joining us live. All of you out there, so exciting that we can come together at this time and be on a call together. So we are doing our executive communication live class today, and you may have seen the topic, but we're going to talk more about it. So even if you didn't see the topic, I'm so happy you're here. We're talking about effective communication in high stakes situations. So we're going to get into all of that. I'm going to give you strategies that you can take with you and, implement as soon as we finish this live class. The goal is really for you to take these strategies with you and practice them and use them and implement them because they're relevant. They're strategies that will help you with your communication skills at work and in life. But obviously today's focus is on executive communication, communicating in professional settings, in high stakes situations. And so you will be able to take these with you wherever you go. Like I said, at work or in your professional and personal lives as well, because we work on social fluency and also executive communication. So I really encourage you to use the chat. So for those of you who are joining me live right now in Explearning Academy, and you're here, you showed up, which is amazing. Kudos to you. And if you interact in the chat with the content that I'm sharing and with each other, you will be invited to a coaching call that I have on this Friday at the same time as now, which is 11 a.m. U.S. Eastern time. So whatever time it is for you in your time zone, if you're joining live in the community, then you will be able to make this time. If you could make it today, you could probably make it Friday, I'm guessing. I'm assuming, but I'm guessing. But right, the requirement is that you show up here, which clearly many of you have. The second thing is that you interact in the live chat that we have. So I'll put a message in so we see it. And I really encourage your participation. And if you do that, you will be invited to our Google Meet call on Friday. Okay, great. So let's just share a little background information so that everybody has that and they know, okay, who is this person? I don't know if many of you, I've seen you, you're familiar to me, but there's some new people too, which is awesome. So I am Mary Daphne. I'm an executive communication coach, among other things, but my primary kind of, I would say my main kind of role these past few years has been really training executives and international professionals, helping professionals master impactful communication. So getting ahead in your careers, landing those jobs, getting those interviews, doing well in those interviews, getting those promotions, being able to understand the cultural nuances at work, particularly if English is your second language. You definitely need to have that background because they don't teach that in language schools. They just don't. And I'm here to empower you with skills to boost your executive presence, your executive communication, your confidence, and your social fluency so that you can communicate across any type of social situation, in any type of communication event, any speech act, and be able to communicate confidently with poise and eloquence and in a natural, authentic way. In terms of some background on me, you can always go to LinkedIn and I post there as well, and you can follow me there if you want to know more about my background. But here's just a little snippet of it. I have an undergrad, a double major in French and communication. And then I've been in the last 2 decades, I've spent in the fields of education and education technology and international corporate communications, television and broadcasting. And I bring all those experiences to design implementable strategies and programs that you can actually use that actually get you the results that you need to level up at work and in your social lives. And I have two masters. My advanced master's is from Columbia University, which some of you may have heard of. It's in New York. And I was a Fulbright grant recipient after college, and that kind of started my exploration in the space of international and intercultural corporate communications, which is something that I tie into my programs and my teaching and my training as well. And speaking of training, I also teach trainers and I teach coaches how to coach and teach. So that's a little bit about that. As far as the academy goes, this is a professional development platform for the modern executive. That's for you, right? That's for people who are really keen on improving their communication skills, especially their professional communication skills and executive communication skills, as well as boosting their social fluency, because we know how important it is to be able to communicate well with confidence and the way that you intend to communicate without misinterpretation and miscommunications. So we in the Academy empower you to boost your confidence and your communication, and we give you actionable learning strategies and challenges that make sense and get you the results that you want. So we're here to help you become more effective communicators for your personal impact as well as your professional impact and your careers. And when you do our programs and you join our webinars and you participate in our community, you'll boost your confidence, you'll level up in your careers, you'll deepen social connections, and you will be such a happier, more productive human being. Because the reality is we're social creatures and we thrive on social interaction. So to be able to do that well, we are even happier to, to live life and to do our jobs and to go after the dreams that we want to go after. So that's a little bit about that. We give you data-driven communication strategies, like I said, that are grounded in research and tailored for professional impact. Hands-on learning, right? Here, we even have this interactive chat. So make it hands-on, right? Interact with this webinar, with this live class, with each other, right? We have several people here. So I would love for you to connect with each other and also use it as a networking tool. And personalized coaching and feedback as well is something that we offer in the community. So whenever you submit work, in our forums and in our challenges and in our web courses and in our coaching calls, you get real life feedback. And it's collaborative, which is so important because in work, we have to be collaborative as well. If you work on a team, even if you are somebody who is a solopreneur and you work for yourself and by yourself, you are still interacting with people, right? You still have to reach out, whether it's through outreach emails or you're, communicating with people who are helping, you build your business or working on something with you, right? So you're still working with people, even if your job is a solopreneur. Most people, though, I guess I could say, are probably working on teams. So you still need that collaborative, experience, right? And we have transformative results-focused programs that range from 5 days to 10 days to 33 days. So I really encourage you to take advantage of those because you get real results and measurable, trackable progress in your leadership communication and with your social skills and social fluency. So from today's webinar, we're going to give you tools and strategies that will help you with your communication skills, practical insights to focus on building confidence in business communication and social fluency, and some techniques to enhance not just your professional, but also your personal growth. So if you're ready for today's live class, then please give me your favorite emoji in the chat. Tell me how you are going to, how you're going to use the strategies I'm going to give you. If it's for personal life or professional life or both, what do you anticipate using these for? Maybe for work, maybe for just your casual, social lives. Whatever it is, share that with me in the chat. Excellent. I love the smiley face, Andres. Very nice. Very nice. All right, so the chat's there for you. And like I said, if you participate in the chat, you will be invited to my coaching call on Friday. You will get an email from me in the community with the Google Meet URL. I think that sounds pretty good. Cool, Melek, also nice smiley face. Okay, good. Very nice. We're off to a wonderful, perfect, excellent start. Okay, so let's get into our presentation. So as we're going through this, I really do want you to think about, okay, so how does this relate to my life? How can I implement these strategies in my personal situation? All right, maybe it's at work, maybe it's just in your personal life, maybe it's, you know, you anticipate needing this maybe even 2 months from now or next year. Whatever it is, we all need to be able to know how to communicate in high stakes situations, right? When stakes are high, it's really critical that we communicate clearly and concisely, right? Because the ability to convey your message effectively, especially under stress, is a vital skill, right? We have to know how to keep our cool. We have to know how to time what we say. And we have to be able to understand how we might react in high pressure scenarios. So this easily could be at work, but it also could be in a personal setting, right? Whatever it might be, high stakes. And for everyone, that's a little bit different, right? It's not just a one size fit all, but you can think of things like a big presentation, a big talk, a negotiation, a performance review assessment and evaluation. Maybe a talk that has to do with monetary value and maybe your salary, a pay raise. It could also be, you know, an intense conversation with a loved one or a partner or whatever it might be, right? These are high stakes situations and we need to know how to excel in these kinds of situations. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about just, you know, understanding the importance of communication. We're all here because we know how important it is, but I think it's really worth kind of driving home some of these thoughts and insights. So as we know, communication is essential, right? To be able to live our lives, to create strong rapport with people, to build strong relationships and trust within a team or even an organization. So when everyone is on the same, so we've got, hello, building relationships, there we go, building relationships, right? When everyone is on the same page, okay, and aligned towards common goals, it leads to more effective collaboration and better results. So we want that alignment. We want to be able to achieve that alignment. And that ties into building strong relationships and building rapport, right? So clear communication is actually what facilitates informed decision making, because we can make decisions based on the information that we've gathered and that we've understood, and it helps ensure smooth execution of plans as well as of initiatives. And then finally, openly discussing expectations and level setting on expectations and, you know, being transparent about any challenges or perhaps even limitations can help prevent misunderstandings and also set the stage for more productive work. So this is very important, right? If we want to succeed at work, we really need to know how to master these. So internal stakeholders are the people within our organization who are directly involved in the project. They could be the team members, they could be the managers, they could be department heads, they could be, you know, outside vendors even, funding if we have like VC funding, something like that. And then we've got the external stakeholders as well, which could be, you know, the individuals and organizations that are outside of the company who have an interest in the project. And those can be clients, those could be investors, more likely they're investors in this sense, the external stakeholders, partners, and then maybe even government agencies. Okay, so we've got to analyze the needs and the perspectives of each stakeholder group so that we can tailor our message effectively and ensure that it resonates with them. Because if it doesn't resonate, it's not gonna hit the mark, and it's not gonna create as much of an effect. So understanding both internal and external stakeholders is crucial to the success of the project, right? And we need to address their concerns and any interests and their questions, right? So by identifying and engaging with these key stakeholders, we can build support, we can manage expectations, and we can ensure that the project aligns with their needs. They are happy with the work that we are providing them, right? There's alignment. Okay, so one of the key focal points of this live class today is on crafting clear and concise messages, right? Especially in high stakes situations, because emotions can be high. People might have some tension, some stress. There could be some confusion. There might be a lack of perceived time, right? Things might feel rushed. So, effective communication requires messages that are well structured, okay, and easy to understand so that everybody is on the same page. So to do this, we need to highlight the most important information, make sure that's front and center. Use simple language, jargon-free, technical-free language. Organizing your thoughts in a logical structure so that people aren't wondering, okay, well, how did they go from there to there? I'm not following, right? We don't want anybody saying or thinking that, rather. And then if you have some sort of written document or email, you want to make sure that you've proofread, you've caught any errors, right? Because that also adds a level of professionalism that we want to portray. Okay. We talk about active listening because it is so important. What is it? Essentially, you're fully focusing on the speaker. You're understanding their perspective, and you're asking questions to clarify anything that is unclear to you. So to do this, you want to be as engaged as possible, right? So you want to leave your distractions at bay. You really want to focus on what the person is saying. You don't want to think too much about what you're saying, because that might be a little bit of a distraction to you, okay? And then questions, right? Asking the right questions. So they could be clarifying questions. That helps ensure mutual understanding, right? It minimizes assumptions. It keeps the dialogue productive. So it's an open dialogue that is transparent in nature. Very important. And then, of course, we always want to consider what our nonverbals are doing. It's not just our verbal communication, it's also our nonverbal communication, right? So eye contact, nodding, doing a triple nod, having open posture, whether you're sitting or standing. All of these things really reinforce that you're actively listening and that you're engaged. And so always with communication, whatever it is, whatever the speech act, whatever the communication event, whatever the social situation, the goal is always to have a genuine two-way conversation where both parties or all parties involved feel heard, respected, and understood. Very, very important. Okay, so when we're thinking about communication channels, okay, we might consider email. Email is formal, right? It's an asynchronous channel, which is actually really well suited for sharing documents, providing updates, making requests that don't necessarily require immediate feedback. So you're not just waiting at your desk or by your phone or on your tablet for an immediate response, because it's asynchronous. The expectation is there will be some delay, right? And that's just the nature of this communication channel. So we know that, right? And we will choose email based on that understanding. Then we've got instant messaging. So things like Slack and Teams, that's for quick, informal conversations, real-time discussions, synchronous communication, right? There's collaboration on projects and where you get immediate answers, okay? So you can be at your desk, on your phone, you get a Slack, send one back. There's that back and forth, more immediate, instant, right? Instant messaging. the name tells it to us itself. And we've got video conferencing, right? So Zoom, Meet, okay, that provides a more personal and a more engaging way to communicate. It's basically, it is considered face-to-face communication, and that's essential for team meetings, for presentations, especially when visual cues are important and you need that high resolution communication. And then of course we've got phone calls. That's also direct, it's synchronous, and it's appropriate for urgent matters when you really need to get somebody on the phone, right? Immediate feedback. And also it's a good way to create and build rapport as well. So consider these communication channels and think about what the goal is of your message, what you're trying to do, and whether you've chosen the appropriate communication channel. Because that is really gonna, especially in high stakes situations, is going to make or break the communication, okay, and the outcome. So what about difficult conversations? So they're a reality, right, in high stakes situations. But the good news is that with proper preparation, we can actually navigate them quite effectively. The key, though, the key really is to understand, okay, the issues at hand and really be ready to listen to the other person's perspective. Make sure that you are being respectful and professional, right? So if you've ever gone into a high stakes situation, not having prepared, just hoping to wing it, what was the outcome of that? Did it go smoothly, or were there some bumps? Did it turn into a fully blown conflict, a full-fledged argument? Share that with me in the chat. When you did not prepare for a high stakes situation, how did it go? How did it go? Share that with us in the chat. Let's see what you have to say about that. I'm very curious. Okay, I see some people typing. We will get to that. Now, the other thing is that your tone really needs to hit the mark, okay? So be mindful of your tone. Are you abrasive? Are you being too soft? Are you being too harsh? You want to kind of strike a balance, right? You want it to be respectful, professional, but you also want it to be assertive because you have certain requests, possibly even demands. So you really want to make sure that you're striking that right balance. And then, of course, active listening is so crucial, particularly when you are communicating in high stakes, heated situations, right? So make sure that you're truly listening to their point of view. You're not just waiting for your turn to speak. You're not just hoping that they'll notice your new blazer or they'll comment on your amazing presentation you gave in last week's meeting. Focus on what they're saying so that you don't miss anything. And read between the lines, right? Not just listening to what they're saying, but how they're saying it. What's the tone? What's their, emphasis on? What's their body language saying? What are their nonverbals telling you? And the goal here should be to find mutually acceptable solutions. Mutually acceptable solutions, which are through compromise. It's not to win the argument. You're not trying to, get everything you want and give them nothing in return. That's not pleasant for anybody. But you really do want to try to find a way to make yourself happy, but also to make them happy. Okay? So if you approach the conversation in this way, right, and we're talking about high stakes situations. Of course, these are also applicable to low stakes conversations and not difficult conversations, but especially in the difficult, high stakes situations, you want to make sure you're doing these 4 things: preparing, minding your tone, doing active listening, and finding compromise. That way we can have constructive dialogues and move towards a more positive resolution. Okay, so Andres shared with us a wonderful example here. When I was in an interview to apply for a new job, I didn't feel well prepared. So good communication really matters in this situation and makes a difference in the recruiting process. Absolutely. Yeah, and so he says that he didn't get the job, but I have faith in you, Andres, that stick with us. We actually have a few great courses in our community, web courses on interviewing that I actually really recommend you check out. And people get, real results with those and get the jobs they want and do well in their interviews. So that might be something I can send you a message about that later. So that's a great example that Andres shared with us. Absolutely. Interviews are high stakes situations, right? The stakes are high. You want that job. You want to get hired. Maybe it's your dream job, right? The possibility of employment and moving up the ladder and providing for yourself and your family and doing something that you really want to do, right? The stakes are high. There's a lot at stake. So beautiful example. And also don't despair, because you will do well in your interviews. Okay. So when we're talking about addressing conflicts and disagreements, the key, of course, one of the main keys, you guessed it, active listening. Great. You need to understand the other person's perspective, not just waiting to respond, not just sitting there and hoping, okay, well, when am I going to get a chance to speak? Focus on what they're saying so you really don't miss anything. Also, try to empathize. Okay. One of the Mindset Monday challenge for this week was looking at the power of perspective. So I shared a Monday mindset, and challenge for that this week was about that. And we'll talk more about it later in the week. So understanding the other person's perspective ties into empathy, right? Try to think about, okay, well, how are they feeling? What's motivating their position? Why are they saying this? Why are they acting this way? Because this is going to help you find common ground and also be more compassionate individual, right? And then approach the situation as a problem to solve together. It's not a conflict that you need to win. It's a collaborative experience. So look at it instead of, oh, I want to win this argument. I want to win this conversation, right? It's more so, let's problem solve. Let's put our hats together, thinking caps together, put our heads together, and try to find first a solution that will work for both of us. And then lastly, respect. Respect. Even if you disagree, be sure to communicate respectfully. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this happen where, people are not communicating respectfully because they disagree, but they don't want to agree to disagree. And so there's that lack of respect. And then even if they're kind of saying the same thing, but they're saying it differently, they're getting to it in with a different approach. There's that misalignment and the lack of respect that just doesn't allow people to fully grasp what is being said. And then when they get tense and upset, that active listening goes whoop out the window, right? So we want to avoid that. That's a very dangerous place to be. So instead, right, even if you disagree, just agree to disagree and make sure that you're communicating respectfully, right? Validate their opinions. Avoid dismissing or attacking them or saying things out of haste and things that you'll regret and out of just kind of like, sheer emotional distress. So always keep that in mind, please. Okay, what about with your presentations and your pitches, because again, that's an example of a high stakes situation. Essentially, anytime you feel that kind of like social anxiety bubbling up, right? You feel the butterflies in your stomach, you're about to go on stage, you're in an interview, you're going to deliver a presentation, maybe you're going to run a meeting, maybe you have a really important one-on-one with your boss, or you're changing departments, you're changing jobs, and you're meeting your new manager. Anytime you feel kind of like a little bit nervous, that's indicative of a high stakes situation. So with presentations, of course, preparation is key, right? We always need to make sure that we're thoroughly researching who we're giving this talk to, who our audience is. Even an audience can be just one other person, right? It's an interlocutor. It doesn't have to be, a group of 20 people or 100 people, although it could be, of course. So you want to make sure that you're tailoring your message to their needs. Is it relevant to them? Will they care what you have to say? Who are the people that you're interacting with? Very important. Okay, so thinking about structuring your presentation too in a very logical way is going to help you not only convey your thoughts clearly, but it'll help them follow what you're saying. So there's a clear kind of roadmap for them to follow, which makes it easy, right? Because that way they don't have to kind of think about, well, how did you get from A to F or A to H? I thought you were going from A to B to C, and so on. Practice, right? Make sure that you're practicing. Practice makes progress, and progress makes us happy. So we really want to prioritize preparation, obviously, and then practicing, because that way you feel more confident about it. You feel like you've gone through it several times. You've done a dry run through. You've rehearsed it, not just in your head, but even maybe in the space that you're going to give that actual talk, or the coffee shop where you're going to be interviewed in, or the restaurant that you're going to have that client meeting with, whatever it is. Okay, try to recon ahead of time and in that space. Make sure that you engage your audience somehow, whether it's an interactive chat or some visual aids, or some sort of way of incorporating storytelling. Try to have the materials that you share resonate with your audience, as well as their specific priorities. And this is especially true in high stakes situations, so that there's that extra element of resonance. Okay. And then if there's questions, you make sure you handle those professionally. Try to be concise as you can. Always be respectful. It goes without saying, but it's really important to remind ourselves of these. So with visual aids like charts and graphs and infographics, these kinds of things have really helped bring your message to life, right? This is why I've included some images here, made it a little bit more visually appealing, right? It's important. So they also really help you kind of take these complex ideas and make them in a more palpable, easy to understand way for people to digest, right? Especially if you have things like, key data points and charts and graphs. Very nice to have if it makes sense for your type of presentation, of course. And then you might include some supporting materials like white papers or case studies or research reports, right? Because they can provide some valuable context and even evidence to back up the points that you're making. And that just bolsters your claims. It bolsters your arguments. And it gives them also some, the audience some additional kind of resources for people to then refer to, and even it helps strengthen the ability and the credibility, rather, of your arguments. So that's important too. Very important. So it's not just your ideas, but it's all backed up as well. So with collaboration and teamwork, really important, right, to drive innovation, to achieve shared goals. So, I had somebody ask me the other day, how do I excel in collaborative environments that are in high stakes situations, right? So this is an important topic as well, particularly if you're, working on a team, which again, many of us are. So we want to make sure that there's a shared understanding. Everyone's on the same page and everyone knows what their role is, what their responsibilities are. There's no ambiguity with that. And that's, of course, the onus there is largely on the manager to make sure that it's clear that everybody knows what's expected of them and what they're doing, right? And if it's not clear, then you should talk to your manager, right? You should. Okay, so roles are clearly defined so that there's not any redundancy and there's no confusion. And then you also get to promote accountability, which is super important. So you might do regular check-ins, progress updates, have these clear feedback channels, and that can help promote accountability as well. So you really want to think about that. And if you're not getting that from your manager, you want to, ask them in a kind way. Oh, do you mind if we do a quick check-in, or I have some progress updates that I'd like to share with you? And it doesn't have to be super formal, right? I mean, depending on your rapport with them and your relationship with them, but even a simple check-in, an email, a Slack, whatever it is, it shows that accountability. And they, in their mind, will be like, wow, that's amazing that they're so proactive about this. And of course, cultivating, a team environment, team culture, things like through social activities and team building exercises. These are really powerful for building rapport, for creating trust, camaraderie. So very important, again, to incorporate those. And then, of course, we can't talk about communication without talking about communication styles, right? So being able to have a flexible communication style, being able to, adapt your style to the specific audience and the context. And this is very important in high stakes situations because you're reading the room. You understand that you will have to modify your communication if there is a situation that calls for maybe a more calm type of communication, a softer tone of voice based on the audience and the context, right? So make sure that you're tailoring your approach and your style and even the words that you utter and the body language that you convey, right? Make sure that you are reading the room and that you understand the situation. Consider the formal versus informal based on the setting, right? What's your relationship with this person? What's the message that you're trying to convey? Are you talking about, your boss's barbecue, or are you asking them for a raise? Very different, very different. Same person, different communication context. Okay, so something to keep in mind. Okay, clarity, conciseness, so important. I can't stress enough how important it is to avoid the jargon, avoid the technical terms that are going to go over people's heads. It's almost impolite, right? It's impolite because you're it's not inclusive, particularly if they don't have that background that you have. Let's say you're an engineer, but they are a product designer. And so you're going to have different technical terminology. And so if they use technical terminology that's unfamiliar to you and you use the technical terminology that's unfamiliar to them, there's going to be misalignment. It's going to, wires are going to get crossed. It'll be a little bit messy. So be easily understood. And then, of course, nonverbal communication, right? What's your body language saying? What are your facial expressions doing? What's your tone of voice? Huge impact, right, on how your message is being perceived. Huge. So the key with mastering high stakes communication, right? We really want to be as specific as possible, concise. We want to read the room. We want to put ourselves in their shoes, have that empathy, validate, understand that the respect has to be there. Even if we disagree, it's okay. You can disagree. Do it in a respectful way, right? Make sure that you're actively listening, you're actively participating, you're engaged, you're asking the right questions. By doing this, you will improve your communication and you will achieve more successful results while also strengthening your relationships with others. Like I said, we're social creatures. We are wired, we are programmed to communicate with each other, regardless of differences, regardless of maybe even social anxiety holding some of us back from doing that. But we are all capable of being excellent masters of communication. Without a doubt. I firmly believe this. And I've coached thousands of people at this point. Hundreds, thousands of people. And this is what we focus on, right? Professional communication skills and social fluency. So it's possible. Very few people are just natural born communicators where they know how to do storytelling and active listening and all of it together perfectly. There are very few people like that. Some people might be excellent, storytellers where it's innate and they're just able to do it on the fly. Some people might have a skill with active listening. They might be very good at active listening. But it's very, very rare for people to just be an ace in every aspect of communication. This is something that we can all get better at. And, it's learnable. It's teachable and it's learnable. So that should come as some, it should be comforting, right? To kind of think about that. So what was your favorite strategy from today? What is your favorite strategy from today? Share that with me in the chat. And like I said, I'm taking note of who's chatting here, and they are going to get an invite from me after this call in their Explearning Academy email. And I'm going to invite you to the Friday session, the Friday coaching session. Okay, so Kay says practicing. Good. Tell me more, Kay. In what context? Is it interviews? Is it a client meeting? What is it? Tell me a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more. I would love to see what you have to say about that. And everybody else who's on this call, what else? Favorite strategy and how you're going to use it. Let's ask that. Favorite strategy and how you're going to use it. So practicing what? Your client pitch, an email maybe that you're working on. You're going to draft it. Tell me. All right. So we have a fantastic program in our community. You can think of it as a communication skills boot camp, an executive accelerator, where we've done all the heavy lifting for you. All you have to do is show up. We give you all the tools and techniques and strategies, much like today, but even more so because, we've got lots and lots of content in there and lots of opportunities for you to interact with each other. It is a network of professionals. So live classes and webinars, live interactive chats, monthly challenges and web courses. You've got the opportunity to network and also to make friends through your interest groups that we have in the community. So there's a lot going on. It's a community of practice. You also get expert feedback from our communication coaches, and I'm there too as the executive communication coach. So something to consider quite highly. And if you want to know more, you can go to our website at academy.explearning.co. You can also scan this QR code that I have here on screen, which will take you to the app, whatever it's on Android and Apple. So you can easily download that and you can just be with us on the go as well. So if you have 10 minutes to spare, you can hop on your phone or on your tablet and do a mini lesson, do a micro learning module, catch up on some messages from your friends in the community, maybe hop on a webinar. You can do all of that from the comfort of your home, from your phone. Very simple, very easy. And of course, on your desktop as well, on your laptop. So excellent. And yes, I really encourage you to check that out if you're serious about, leveling up. And on our website, you can also see all the testimonials from our current and former members. So you can check it out. And I really encourage you to read those because it gives you a sense of sort of, what the members are saying. And these are real people just like you who are in a transition and they want to level up their communication skills. They want to either, get better jobs, or they want to get the job that they want, or they know they need that professional polish and they need that social fluency, and they want connection. We all want connection. We all want to be able to connect with people. And like I said, we're social creatures. So let's go through some of these in the chat. I love that people are interacting and asking questions. Okay, so practicing, Kay says, how to present myself in a professional way, at a professional level. Very good. Yeah, absolutely. So important. And then Andre says, for me, is empathy and respect, taking others' opinions and understanding that we are different. Absolutely. And also understanding the context to fit the style and the channel of communication. Very, very nice. I love these takeaways. I love these golden nuggets. All right, terrific. And so Kay would like the link. Would you like the link to the program? Is that correct? I can give you that. I can absolutely, yes, please. Okay, let's put that in there. So share with me any final takeaways. Like I said, the people who interacted in the chat will be getting an invite from me right after this call. And I'll see you Friday. I will see you Friday, my friends, for that call. Okay, where am I going? I'm going to the link. Awesome. Listen, I'm so glad that you took the time to invest in yourself, to take this hour and, spend it on investing in your present and in your future, because you realize how important it is, right? You realize that just carving out some time is going to help you get to your goals, get to the things you want to do, be able to have those conversations, land those jobs, meet with those people, do everything that you really desire. It all starts with communication skills, being able to communicate ourselves. Just like Kay said, being able to present yourself, present your ideas, stand up for yourself, share your thoughts, even so much as, in a meeting, share your thoughts, let people hear your voice, add value to the conversation. If we're so afraid to do that, no one's ever going to hear our amazing ideas, right? If you're afraid of your accent, or if you're afraid of your ideas, or if you're afraid of being judged, well, then I hate to tell you this, but no one's ever going to know how amazing you are, because you're not giving them the chance to know you, to learn about you, to hear your voice, to hear your ideas. So think of it that way, right? You have a lot to offer. You have a lot to share. You have value that you're adding. So try to kind of get over that initial anxiety, right? We all have some sort of, butterflies in our stomach, particularly in high stakes situations. Absolutely. But with all these strategies I shared with you today, even if you walk away with just one or two of them, that is going to dramatically improve the way you communicate in these high stakes situations. I promise you that. Yes, it takes practice, of course, just like anything. You learn a new skill, you're gonna have to practice. You have to practice. That's how it works, right? You are welcome, Melek. Happy to share these strategies. Happy that you're here. So go forth, my friends. Use these strategies. I'm gonna share. Well, I'm gonna save everybody who here in the chat room shared their lovely insights, and I'm gonna send an email to you. All right, perfect. Well, lovely chatting. Thanks again for hopping on, and I wish you a fantastic, wonderful, amazing rest of your day or morning or night, whatever time it is for you. And I will see you in the community. So keep an eye out for me, for those of you who participated in the chat, and I will see you Friday. Oh, an honor to be here. That's so sweet. Well, an honor for me as well, Andres. It's really wonderful interacting with all of you. I really appreciate all of you, and I appreciate your time. Time is so precious. It's our most valuable asset. So the fact that you shared it with me today, I am beyond honored. So thank you. All right, well, I will let everyone get back to what they're doing. Practice these strategies, make them your own, and you got this. All right, I will see you soon. Bye, everybody.